Chosen one, people are whispering that you live a double life, spinning entire lore about your secrets because they are bored and can't comprehend your depth. They analyze your every move, convinced there's a hidden story, but their confusion is your power. They can't figure out how you are so present yet unreachable, so visible yet mysterious. Your mystery is simply the sound of your purpose being built in silence, far from the noise of those who will never understand your mission. The ones accusing you of secrecy never cared enough to actually know you when it mattered. Nobody was checking on you during your struggle. Nobody was interested when you were building from nothing. But now that you're glowing, now that success is obvious, suddenly everyone becomes an investigator. Suddenly your privacy is suspicious. Suddenly your boundaries are offensive, and their frustration is revealing something critical about the shift happening in your life. You've been living your purpose so authentically that you don't even notice the noise. You're divinely orchestrated. And while others are making up stories, you're making actual moves. But those stories being told, watch how this works in your favor in ways you can't imagine yet. People are calling you secretive because you simply don't explain yourself anymore. You stopped oversharing. You stopped justifying your choices. You stopped giving access to information people haven't earned the right to know. And that shift, that boundary you established, it triggered something. It set off alarms in people who were used to having unlimited access to your energy. You carry influencer energy, whether you claim it or not. You're destined to be seen. Your presence commands attention even when you're trying to blend in, but you're so energetically sensitive that you had to find alternative ways to shine. Some of you work behind the scenes, making other people successful. You're the genius in the shadows, the power behind the throne, and you've been comfortable there because it gave you impact without invasion. But something is shifting right now. It's your time to step forward. If you've been feeling that call, that pull, that divine nudge to show more of yourself, that's not random, that's purposeful. And the reason people are talking about your double life right now is because you're in a transition phase between who you were in hiding and who you're becoming in the open. You have a reputation for being extremely private, even in everyday situations, at work, at school, in social settings. People ask invasive questions, and you decline to answer, and it insults them. Someone asks about your relationship status, and you keep it vague. Someone probes about your income, and you redirect the conversation. Someone wants details about your family, and you give them almost nothing, and that restraint makes certain people uncomfortable. The leap from respecting privacy to assuming deception happens fast in their minds. "Why won't you just tell me?" becomes, "What are you hiding?" And that leap tells you everything about who someone is and nothing about who you are. There are people right now saying you have a dark secret, convinced if someone digs deep enough, something will be found that proves you're not who you appear to be. And maybe you do have history you're not proud of. Maybe there are chapters you've closed. Maybe there are versions of yourself you've outgrown and buried. You're so mysterious, you reveal so little, that imaginations are working overtime. When people don't have information, something happens. Projection takes over. The mystery gets filled with personal fears and fantasies. And those projections, watch how this actually reveals what's about to happen next in your story. You've got some wild rumors circulating about you, stories so absurd you'd laugh if you heard them, but there's a pattern in the chaos. The rumors all revolve around the same theme, people making up stories because you refuse to perform your life for entertainment. And while that seems negative on the surface, something powerful is happening underneath. People are convinced you're either secretly wealthy or secretly struggling, depending on who's talking. Someone swears you have accounts nobody knows about. Someone else insists you're living beyond your means. Here's what's actually happening. Your relationship with resources is private and strategic. You don't flash abundance when you have it. You don't broadcast challenges when you're building. Some of you have multiple income streams nobody knows about, side ventures generating serious revenue, investments paying off quietly, saving strategies that would impress advisors, but you keep it quiet because you watched what happened to people who announced their moves too early. You saw the requests that never get repaid, the business ideas that suddenly get stolen, the jealousy that manifests as spiritual attack. Others of you are building from ground zero, but doing it with such dignity and strategy that people assume you already have resources. You carry yourself with abundance energy, even when you're in a season of growth. You invest in yourself wisely, you make smart choices, and people create stories about secret funding or hidden support because understanding your discipline and resourcefulness is beyond their comprehension. The lore about your financial situation is actually reflecting your mastery over material reality. You understand that how you relate to resources is nobody's business. You've detached your worth from your bank account. You've learned that true wealth is energetic before it's physical. This is where it gets really entertaining. People are absolutely obsessed with trying to figure out your romantic situation. If you're single, someone swears you're secretly seeing someone. If you're committed, someone insists you're actually available. If you're dating casually, someone is convinced you're engaged. The confusion is constant, and it's deliberate on a spiritual level. Your love life is so protected by divine covering that people literally cannot accurately perceive it. Someone will see you with a friend and create an entire relationship narrative. Someone else will hear you mention a partner and decide you're lying. The rumors contradict each other constantly, and that's because your romantic energy is cloaked, shielded, protected from the evil eye and malicious intention. You've learned not to post your partner if you have one, not because you're ashamed, but because you value what you have too much to subject it to public consumption. You've watched relationships crumble under the weight of social media pressure. You've seen how opinions can poison something beautiful, so you keep it sacred, you keep it private, you keep it protected. If this touched your heart and mind, hype this video so more chosen ones can receive this message. And if you're single, you're not performing your availability, you're not broadcasting your dating life, you're not updating everyone on your romantic prospects. You move in silence until you find someone worthy of your energy. And that makes people create elaborate stories about secret relationships that don't exist. The lore about your love life is actually protecting your next relationship. Every rumor is creating confusion that keeps the wrong people away. Every false narrative is acting as a filter. Every contradictory story is building a wall around your heart that only the right person will be able to navigate. People can never quite figure out where you are or where you're going. You mention traveling and someone assumes you're on a permanent vacation. You're working from different locations and someone thinks you're running from something. You relocate and someone doesn't find out until much later. You're in a city for years and people swear you're never seen out. You've mastered the art of being present without being available. You exist in spaces without making yourself accessible to everyone. You move through your city or town like a ghost, visible when you choose to be, invisible when you need to be. And this skill, this ability to control your visibility, it creates so much speculation. Some people think you've moved away when you're still local. Others think you're still around when you've actually relocated. Some are convinced you're living a jet-setting lifestyle when you're just strategic about what you share. Others think you never leave when you're actually constantly on the move. The confusion about your physical location is actually a reflection of your spiritual ability to be in multiple places energetically. You've learned to protect your movements because you understand spiritual geography. You know that when people know exactly where you are constantly, negative energy can be directed to those locations. Privacy about your whereabouts gives you freedom that others don't have. This might be the most persistent set of rumors about you. People cannot figure out what you actually do. You might tell someone directly and still not be believed. You might have a straightforward job and someone is convinced you're doing something else entirely. You might be an entrepreneur and someone thinks you're employed. You might be employed and someone swears you own a company. The reason for this confusion is multifaceted. First, you might legitimately do multiple things. You're not confined to one identity or one income source. You have skills across different domains. You generate revenue from various streams. You wear many hats. And people who think linearly cannot compute someone who operates multidimensionally in career. Second, you don't explain your work in detail to people who don't need to know. When someone asks what you do, you give the simplified version. You don't break down your entire business model or career strategy to someone making small talk. You give enough information to satisfy casual curiosity and nothing more, and that brevity gets interpreted as secrecy. Third, your work might actually require discretion. Some of you sign agreements that prevent you from discussing details of your work. Some of you work with sensitive information or high-profile individuals who require confidentiality. Some of you are building something you can't fully reveal yet because the timing isn't right. The law about what you do for work is actually building your brand as someone multifaceted and impressive. People create stories about you being more successful than you've claimed. Someone assumes you're doing bigger things than you've revealed. Rumors spread that actually enhance your reputation rather than damage it. People cannot figure out your actual social life. Someone thinks you're extremely connected. Someone else insists you're completely isolated. One person swears you're always at events. Another claims you never go out. Someone says you know everyone. Someone else calls you a loner. The contradictions are wild. Here's the reality. You're selective about your social energy. You show up where it matters. You skip what doesn't serve you. You have different friend groups for different parts of your life, and you don't mix them unnecessarily. You can be the life of the gathering when you choose to be, and completely low-key when you prefer to be. You're socially fluid, adaptable, chameleon-like in your ability to fit in anywhere while belonging nowhere completely. This social flexibility creates confusion because people are trying to box you into one social identity. Are you introverted or extroverted? Are you popular or private? Are you social or solitary? And the answer is yes, you're all of it depending on context, mood, season, and purpose. Some people think you're friends with everyone. Others think you have no real friends. Some believe you're at every gathering. Others swear you never participate in anything. The truth is, you have deep connections with a select few and casual connections with many. You show up powerfully when you're present, and you're completely absent when you're not. This is where people really lose their minds. Someone cannot reconcile the person you used to be with the person you are now. The change is so dramatic, so complete, so total, that elaborate stories get created to explain it. Some people think you got involved in something shady to afford your glow-up. Some believe you had work done to explain your transformation. Some are convinced you joined something unusual or found religion to account for your mindset shift. Some swear you're in therapy. Some think you fell into money. Some believe you had a breakdown. The speculation about how you changed so drastically is endless. What gets missed is that you did the internal work. You healed trauma nobody knows about. You released patterns nobody ever saw. You chose yourself when no one was watching. You invested in your growth when you had nothing. You made decisions that cost you relationships, comfort and security because you knew your old life was killing you slowly. Your transformation wasn't overnight, even though it looks that way to outsiders. You've been shedding skin for longer than anyone knows. You've been dying and being reborn repeatedly. You've been in the spiritual fire, getting purified. And now that the change is visible, now that the external finally matches the internal, an explanation gets demanded that makes sense to limited understanding. So law gets created about plastic surgery when you just started taking care of yourself. Stories about illegal activity when you just got disciplined about your finances. Narratives about cult involvement when you just found genuine spirituality. Theories about lottery wins when you just learned to work smarter. People are fascinated by what you can do that can't be explained. Some of you have healing abilities. Some read energy. Some predict things with uncanny accuracy. Some manifest rapidly. Some have creative gifts that seem supernatural, and people who witness these abilities don't know how to process them. So lore gets created. You're called psychic when you're just intuitive. You're called lucky when you're just aligned. You're called talented when really you're dedicated. You're told it's natural when actually you've been developing these skills intentionally. You might tell someone about a dream you had, and then it happens. You'll be called psychic, but you know you're just tuned into spiritual frequency. You might mention wanting something and then attract it quickly. You'll be called lucky, but you know you're just practicing conscious manifestation. You might create something beautiful. You'll be called naturally talented, but you know you've been honing that skill for years when nobody was paying attention. The lore about your gifts is actually people trying to make sense of abilities no language exists for. Spiritual development is being witnessed and called magic. Manifestation power is being seen and called coincidence. Your energy is being experienced and called charisma. People love trying to dig up your history. Someone wants to know where you came from, who you used to be, what you've been through, where you went to school, who your family is, what your background looks like, and you give almost nothing to work with. You don't talk about your past unless it's relevant. You don't volunteer your trauma for bonding. You don't use your history as an excuse or an explanation. You've made peace with your past and moved forward without dragging it behind you constantly. But that creates a vacuum of information that people desperately want to fill. So stories get made up, assumptions happen based on stereotypes. Personal experiences get projected onto your history. Narratives get created that explain who you are now by inventing who you must have been then. And most of it is completely inaccurate because guesses are being made based on limited information and heavy bias. Some of the lore about your past makes you sound worse than you were. Some makes you sound better. Some is so far from reality it's almost funny. But you don't correct it because you don't owe anyone your story. Your past belongs to you. Your journey is yours alone. The mystery about your past is actually protecting your present. When people don't know your full story, it can't be used against you. When triggers aren't known, manipulation can't happen. When weak points aren't exposed, attacks can't happen there. Now here's what all these categories of lore have in common. Every single rumor, every piece of speculation, every wild story is actually serving you. The confusion people have about you is divinely orchestrated chaos that protects you from things you don't even know you need protection from. That rumor about you being wealthy, it makes people think twice about trying to take advantage of you. That story about your relationship status, it filters out people who aren't serious. That mystery about your location, it keeps negative energy from tracking you down. That confusion about your career, it prevents people from copying your strategy before you've fully executed it. That speculation about your social life, it allows you to move freely without constantly being monitored. The lore is working for you, not against you. The double life accusation is actually your multi-dimensional existence being flattened into two-dimensional understanding. You're not living two lives. You're living fully in ways that can't be comprehended, so it gets split into categories that make sense to limited perspectives. You're not keeping secrets to be malicious. You're exercising discernment about who gets access to what information. You're not hiding your truth. You're protecting your energy from people who would weaponize your transparency. You're not being fake. You're being strategic about what you reveal and when. Now let me put you onto something real, Destiny Engine. I built this because I was done watching chosen ones get dragged through betrayal, isolation, and attacks while their enemies strutted around unchecked. I want to help you accelerate the speed of your divine justice and step fully into your purpose. And the beauty of it, you don't even have to lift a finger. Destiny Engine takes their downfall and flips it into your rise. This isn't another meditation app. It's declassified consciousness technology, the same mind programming tools your enemies once used to install fear, competition, and scarcity, re-engineered to restore your sovereignty and align you with the cooperative, upgraded operating framework. It generates personalized sequences mapped to your divine purpose. The hardest thing you'll do is put on headphones, press play, and watch your enemies keep digging their own grave. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your destiny engine for $1 today and turn everything they did to break you into fuel for your rise. Link in the description. Most of the talk about you is actually positive. People are discovering things that impress them. Someone finds out you own a thriving venture you never mentioned. Someone stumbles on content you created and realizes you're talented. Someone learns about a side hustle you kept quiet. And suddenly the narrative shifts. You're not secretive, you're humble. You're not hiding, you're focused. You're not fake, you're multidimensional. People are finding out you're self-made, successful, operating in excellence while everyone assumed you were just regular. And that discovery is happening more and more frequently now. That's not coincidence, that's divine timing. You're being revealed gradually, strategically, supernaturally. Some of you legitimately do have a double life in the superhero sense. You work in investigation, law enforcement, undercover operations. Your job requires aliases and secrecy for safety and professional reasons, and people's suspicions about you aren't entirely wrong. The full picture just isn't known. But even those of you with regular jobs carry this energy. People suspect you're always up to something. And here's the thing, you kind of are. You're always plotting your next move, always working on something, always 3 steps ahead. Not because you're sneaky, but because you're strategic. That's not deception, that's dominance. There's something you're exceptionally good at that you haven't shown the world yet, and people are discussing it because someone witnessed it. An ex, an old friend, someone you dated, witnessed your genius in an unguarded moment and never forgot, mentions it to others, describes what was seen, and it adds layers to your reputation. It builds your lore, and that lore is serving a purpose you don't fully see yet. Some of you are brilliant with numbers, business, finances. Some of you have money saved that nobody knows about, accounts you've never mentioned, or investments you've never discussed. And somehow, someone found out. Maybe you told one person in confidence, and it couldn't be kept. Maybe someone saw something not supposed to be seen, but now it's floating in the gossip atmosphere. Here's the pattern that's been following you. People always find out things about you without you telling directly, and that creates suspicion. Why wasn't something just said? Why did discovery have to happen independently? What gets missed is that you don't owe anyone a running commentary on your financial moves, creative projects, or personal evolution. You know what happened. You realize certain people were breaking your trust, sharing your information, telling your business, so you got even more private. You tightened your circle, you raised your walls, you became selective about what you share and with whom, and even if you don't consciously realize it, people are saying all this stuff about you while you're just focused on your path, minding your business, staying in your lane. And somehow, that focus makes people obsess over you even more. There's a part of you meant to be seen and noticed. That's undeniable. But it's your choice what information you make public, your decision what gifts you share with the world, your timing on what parts of your mission you pursue openly versus what you keep between you and God. And right now, you're in a season of strategic concealment before a season of strategic revelation. The concealment is preparing you for what's coming. Don't let anyone manipulate you into revealing information you're not ready to share. Some of you don't share your birthday, your age, your personal details, your family information. And that's your right. You don't have to give personal information just because someone asks. Unless you're legally required, you decide what stays private. That's not secrecy, that's sovereignty. You've dealt with energy vampires, spiritual attacks, destiny swappers, people who literally study you to become you, to take what's yours, to steal your blueprint. Now when people try to find information about you, walls get hit, so stories get made up instead, and you're going through a transformation where you've gone ghost in certain spaces, disappeared from social media, stopped posting regularly, cut off communication with people who don't serve your highest good. Someone thinks something bad happened to you. Someone assumes you're going through a crisis. Someone believes you're hiding because you got exposed. But the truth is you're in a cocoon phase, reinventing yourself, evolving, transforming into the next version. And when you emerge, readiness won't exist for what gets seen. You've got people bored with their own lives, obsessing over yours, pissed off that you won't reveal your secrets, frustrated by your boundaries, uncomfortable with what isn't known. But here's the beautiful part that connects everything. The more people dig trying to find dirt on you, the more great things get discovered. The more investigation happens, the more an exceptional reputation gets found. When anyone goes asking about you, positive things get said. You're respected, admired, appreciated by those who actually know you. And when gossipers come looking for ammunition, empty hands result. All that gets found is evidence of your character, work ethic, integrity, and growth. That's divine protection in action. You have trusted people who understand your need for privacy. When others pry, nothing gets given. Protection happens without you asking. Maybe a partner who keeps your relationship private to shield it from negativity. Maybe family who won't discuss your business with outsiders. Maybe friends who redirect conversations when your name comes up. These are your real ones. You established firm boundaries. You told people to respect your privacy, your peace, to leave you alone. And as part of your spiritual transformation, learning to move in silence had to happen. Not to sneak attack people, that's not your style, but to protect yourself from people who would attack you for your gifts or exploit your talents for their benefit. God is revealing more gifts to you right now, more talents, more abilities, more clarity about your purpose. And that is nobody's business until you decide it is. But because you're an innovator, people want to see what you're building. Copying gets attempted, emulation gets tried, your blueprint gets studied, and it's your timing, divine timing, when you reveal yourself. Some of you will find massive success as writers using pen names, ghostwriters, anonymous creators, and there's genius in that. Impact without invasion, influence without exposure, message without sacrifice of safety. And for those doing this but feeling called to show more of yourself now, take your time. God will help you adapt to whatever energy comes with visibility. Now here's something wild. Someone out there thinks their partner is having an affair with you. This is real. Someone is accusing their significant other of secretly being involved with you. Your name is coming up because you probably have history with this person, an ex, someone you dated, an old connection. And letting go energetically hasn't happened. Getting caught checking your social media happened. Looking you up happened. Thinking about you happened. And now blame is coming your way for someone else's inability to move on. You're a scapegoat in someone else's relationship drama without even participating. And this reveals something crucial. Not everyone can handle being close to you. There's a spiritual intensity that comes with your presence. Some people felt that weight and couldn't carry it. Some dated you in secret because fear existed of spiritual attacks that came with being publicly connected to you. Some people hid you because friends or family had strong negative reactions to you for no logical reason. Eventually, those relationships ended. But those people are still being accused of maintaining contact with you, even when connection doesn't exist. Your energy is that powerful. Your impact is that lasting. You live rent-free in minds, and it causes chaos in situations you're not even part of. You deserve someone who shows you off, who isn't afraid of what comes with loving you, who protects you but never hides you, and that person is coming or already here. But understand, you will continue being discussed in spaces you're not present in. People will argue about you, project onto you, use your name in conversations you're not having, and you're just living completely unaware of most of it. God is hiding you in plain sight while preparing you for something bigger. The work you've been doing behind the scenes is not invisible to the universe. Every effort counts. Every sacrifice matters. Every moment of discipline is building towards something magnificent. People will think your success is overnight when it finally manifests publicly, but you know about the preparation, the countless hours of practice, the investments made when nobody was watching. When people try to talk about your past to discredit you, God flips it into testimony. Someone mentions you struggled financially and admiration happens for how far you've come. Someone brings up mistakes and growth and maturity, gets seen. Someone tries to expose you and their own bitterness gets exposed instead. You are protected in ways that transcend human understanding. There's a supernatural shield that deflects negativity and transforms attacks into opportunities. You're not trying to one-up anyone. You're not sneaky. You're protecting what's yours. You're following divine guidance. You're honoring intuition. And people are frustrated because understanding doesn't exist for why you won't tell everything. Someone feels slighted because knowing you for years happened and no idea existed about certain projects. But you don't owe anyone access to your process. You don't have to reveal dreams before readiness exists. You don't have to explain moves before making them. You don't need to be transparent with people who want to harm or hold you back. That's not dishonesty, that's wisdom. And you've been operating in that wisdom consistently. You leave situations without announcements, make changes without permission, grow without needing applause, and it's powerful. It's exactly how you're supposed to move. Your mysterious nature is both magnetic and frustrating to others. Some are attracted to it. Finding you intriguing happens. Others are irritated. Being used to people who overshare means your boundaries make someone uncomfortable. You've lost potential connections who couldn't handle not knowing everything immediately, but those weren't your people. The right ones will respect your pace, earn your trust gradually. Understand that your layers unfold over time. People have misunderstood your privacy, but mature individuals recognize it as healthy. Someone is seen who values their inner world and doesn't need external validation. That's attractive, rare, the kind of person you build empires with. Someone who doesn't broadcast everything. Someone who focuses on what matters. Someone who protects their peace and their people. Here's what you need to understand about your story arc. You're meant to go through dramatic transformations. It's your purpose. You're supposed to change, evolve, become unrecognizable from who you used to be. That's your spiritual assignment. You show people that transformation is possible, that privacy is healthy, that you can shine while maintaining boundaries, that you can impact the world without revealing everything. You live by your own rules, and that threatens people. You don't follow anyone else's agenda or timeline. You don't conform to expectations that don't serve you. You found your own connection to God, and it's stronger than any religious tradition or social pressure could create. You're living in your truth, and some call it rebellious or blasphemous, but you know the difference between authentic spirituality and performance spirituality. God has called you to specific things others won't understand, places you need to go that seem dark to outsiders, but you're meant to be light there. Experiences you need to have that others judge but are essential to your growth. Don't feel ashamed about your path. Don't let anyone guilt you for where God has led you. Your journey is yours alone. You're not obviously anything, and that doesn't make you fake. It makes you authentic. You contain multitudes. You're complex, layered. You refuse to be boxed because you're too expansive for that. You were many things in past lives, and you have countless gifts in this one. You're not going to limit yourself to make others comfortable. You're going to be exactly who God created you to be. Multi-talented, multi-dimensional, mysterious, and magnificent. Your ability to move in multiple dimensions simultaneously, your capacity to be present yet unreachable, your skill at being visible yet unknowable, that's not weakness, that's mastery, that's spiritual intelligence at its highest level. You're not living a double life. You're living a full life that's too complex for simple minds to comprehend. The secrets you keep, not shame, strategy, protection, divine wisdom manifesting through your boundaries. Every time you decline to explain yourself, your sovereignty gets honored. Every time you keep something private, your power gets protected. Every time you move in silence, you move in strength. The lore people create about you, it's working in your favor. Mystique gets built, intrigue gets created, your brand gets established as someone who can't be figured out or controlled. And in a world where everyone overshares, where privacy is rare, where boundaries constantly get violated, you stand out, you're different, you're powerful, you're untouchable in the best way. You're in a transition phase right now between who you were in concealment and who you're becoming in revelation. The double life accusation, that's just the before and after existing simultaneously, the caterpillar and the butterfly in the same body, the old you dying while the new you is being born. Transformation is being witnessed and called deception because metamorphosis isn't understood. Keep doing exactly what you're doing. The more you put yourself out there, the more talk happens. The more private you remain, the more speculation happens. Either way, escape doesn't exist from having energy that people obsess over, so lean into it.